Hello everybody, welcome to The Book Club. Today we are going to see the summary of the book, And Then There Were None, and Then There Were None, is a mystery novel by Agatha Christie, first published in 1939. The book follows 10 strangers who are invited to an isolated island by an unknown host. Once they arrive, they find themselves trapped on the island with no way to escape. As they begin to get to know each other, they realize that they all have dark secrets in their pasts. Soon after their arrival, they are each accused of a murder they have supposedly committed, and one by one, they begin to die. And Then There Were None, by Agatha Christie, has 10 chapters in total. Each chapter is relatively short, with the entire book consisting of just over 200 pages. However, the story is tightly plotted and moves quickly, making it a page-turner that is hard to put down. Chapter 1. 10 strangers, each with a different reason for being on the island, arrive on Indian Island off the coast of Devon, England. They are welcomed by a butler and cook, who explain that their hosts, Mr. and Mrs. Owen, will not be arriving until the next day. During dinner, they discover that they have all been brought to the island under false pretenses and that they share a dark secret. Chapter 2. The next morning, the guests enjoy breakfast before they begin to explore the island. They soon discover that they are completely cut off from the outside world, with no way to contact the mainland. After lunch, they hear a mysterious voice accusing each of them of committing murder. Chapter 3. The guests are terrified by the voice and attempt to leave the island, but they discover that the boat has been taken away. After dinner, one of the guests, Anthony Marston, dies from poisoned brandy. The guests begin to suspect that one of them is the killer. Chapter 4. The guests wake up to find that Mrs. Rogers, the cook, has died in her sleep. They start to feel uneasy around each other and are unsure of who to trust. They search the island for clues but find nothing. Chapter 5. The guests decide to band together and share their stories with each other. They hope that by doing so, they will be able to identify the killer. However, they soon discover that the killer has access to all their secrets and is using them to manipulate and control them. Chapter 6. The guests continue to die one by one, with General MacArthur being bludgeoned to death. The remaining guests become more paranoid and suspicious of each other, and tensions rise. Chapter 7. The guests find a poem, 10 Little Soldiers, that describes their current situation. They begin to realize that the killer is following the poem's instructions, and that they are running out of time. They also discover that one of the guests, Mr. Blore, is not who he claims to be. Chapter 8. 2 more guests, Emily Brent and Justice Wargrave, are killed in quick succession. The remaining guests become increasingly desperate and afraid, and they begin to turn on each other. Dr. Armstrong becomes convinced that the killer is hiding in plain sight. Chapter 9. The remaining guests attempt to trap the killer, but their plan fails, and Dr. Armstrong is killed. The final 3 guests, Vera Claythorne, Philip Lombard, and Justice Wargrave, try to work out who the killer is and how to stop them. Chapter 10. The final chapter reveals that the killer is Justice Wargrave, who orchestrated the whole thing as a form of vigilante justice. He reveals that he was dying of a terminal illness and that he wanted to punish the guests for their past crimes. He then commits suicide, leaving the surviving guests to be rescued the next morning. Throughout the book, the guests are slowly picked off one by one, and the tension and paranoia build as they try to work out who the killer is. The novel is a masterful piece of mystery writing, with a clever plot that keeps readers guessing until the very end. The isolated island setting and diverse group of characters also add to the book's suspense and make it a classic of the genre. Hope you people enjoy the book. Please find the buying link of the book in the description. Please like, share and subscribe to be notified. Happy reading!